time now is 11:51 a.m. This begins meeting at 3 on the record.
All right, we're back. What's your understanding of privilege, Mr. Fox?
Objection. If, I mean, you can attempt to answer, but it seems to be directly attempting to solicit what I just said to you, so.
I don't see what would be stopping him from answering how he understands privilege.
There are certain things that I have privilege or other parties have privilege to that do not need to be discussed here.
I guess you kind of used the word privilege in defining privilege.
Sure.
What do you mean by that?
There are certain things that some parties have the right to know related to what's being discussed. And yeah, that's my understanding. I mean,
Anything to do with attorneys? Communications with attorneys?
sometimes.
Objection, that was not a question.
Okay.
Is your understanding that privilege is triggered by your communications with attorneys?
Objection.
Could you rephrase?
Do you understand that, strike that, is it your understanding that a communication with an attorney with whom you have an attorney-client privilege is what creates a privilege?
Objection.
Could you restate without using privilege, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to define the term, or at least get your understanding of your definition for the term. Is it your understanding that communications that don't have attorneys in them are not protected by privilege?
Objection.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So that's not something Ms. Dow just told you?
Objection. You should not be asking what I have advised him.
Excuse me. You can instruct him not to answer, but please don't instruct me what questions to ask. So you can. Are you instructing him not to answer the question?
Do not respond to questions where the response is things that I told you during a privileged communication.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Well, I'll say for the record that if your interpretation of privilege is that you shouldn't be talking about conversations that had no attorneys present during the conversation, we're going to be in a place to challenge that privilege. We've discussed it with your counsel before, or with Ms. Dowd before. And if that's what she instructed you during the break, then I think that'll be a larger topic of discussion going forward in this case.
And I'm just going to object to that, whatever you would call it that you just provided that was not a question and some sort of strange statement that you made to the witness.
Okay, thank you. So let's go back to this document. The first four entries on this list seem to be related to some sort of upcoming EO. Does that appear to be correct?
That appears to be correct.
Okay. Do you know what EO that was in relation to?
No.
Okay. Did you end up getting detail to those four agencies?
Yes, I believe so. I'm not certain about Minority Business Development Agency, but yes for the top three.
Okay. What about the bottom four? The Community Development Financial Institutions Fund, the Federal Mediation Conciliation Service, the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars, and the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness. Were you detailed to those four?
Woodrow Wilson, yes. The other three, I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay. You don't remember whether you were detailed to those agencies or not?
Yes, at one point, our team was not all detailed into the same agency.
Okay.
And there are 150 or so. So I don't remember.
Okay. Do you know roughly how many agencies you were detailed to?
Precisely, no. 20 to 40 is probably the band.
Okay. And what was your goal in being detailed to these agencies?
Objection.
Help the agency lead find efficiencies, savings via contracts,
Okay. Terminating grants?
terminating grants, ensuring that they were aligned with the executive orders.
Okay. And that took place at somewhere between 20 and 40 agencies, is that right?
For me, yes.
For you, yeah. Thanks. Okay, let's go to, Jacob, let's go to tab 3. Or actually, sorry, before I move on, can you scroll up all the way to the top? I just want to, great. And then I just want to read this into the record. On March 14th, 2025, Nate Kavanaugh sends to Ryan Leppertz. He's saying, you and Ethan, an email. He says, hi, Ryan. Can you send detail agreements for the three of us to for IMLS? Keith Sonderling is the new director and will countersign on their behalf. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Were you detailed to IMLS?
Yes.
Okay. What do you understand Ryan Leppert's role to be in the government at this time?
White House liaison for GSA.
Okay. Do you have an understanding of how Ryan was being directed at this time?
No.
Okay. This was someone that you had met quite recently at this point. Is that fair
Yes.
to say? Okay. Do you know who he reported to?
No.
Okay. But it appears that he had some power to help you and other members of your team get detailed to different agencies. Is that fair?
Yes.
Objection.
Okay. Was that yes?
Repeat the question again for me.
Can you read back the question, please?
Question. It appears that he had some power to help you and members of your team get detailed to different agencies. Is that fair?
He countersigned all of the detail agreements.
Okay. So that's a yes.
That's fair.
Okay. Okay. Let's get tab number 3 up. Jacob? Great, thank you. Okay, so tab number 3 is the text for Executive Order 14238 of March 14th, 2025, called Continuing the Reduction of the Federal Bureaucracy. Under Section 2, it names several agencies. Is this the EO, to your understanding, that Nate was referencing in that email?
Is this Exhibit 3?
This is Exhibit 3, yes.
To my understanding, based on what you've showed me, yes.
Okay. It's fair to say that based on that email and the substance of that email, that this could have been the EO that he was referring to.
It could have been.
Okay, great. And we see some agencies listed. Could you maybe zoom in a little bit, Jacob, just so the text is a little bigger? That's good. Thank you. So we see here many of the same agencies that were listed in that email. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
Okay. Were you detailed to any of these agencies?
Woodrow Wilson, yes. IMLS, yes. The other 5, I'm not sure.
Why are you not sure?
Objection.
There were 150 agencies. At some point, we all split up, and not all of us were onboarded onto all of the same agencies.
Okay. So you were, okay, so you don't remember all of the agencies that you yourself were detailed to, is that fair to say?
The ones that I worked with, I would remember, hence why Woodrow Wilson, IMLS, yes. But again, at some point, we stopped having all of us on board.
Okay.
And so I may have been onboarded to Community Development Financial Institution Fund, but I didn't spend time with the team
Got
at
it.
that agency. So
Okay, I see. So there's a distinction here between where you were kind of actually detailed versus where you actually did work.
spending time and doing work.
Got it,
yeah.
okay. So when you say you don't know, what you were saying was that you don't know if you were officially detailed there?
Yes.
Okay.
But
you know
yes.
that you did not do work there?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
That's helpful. Okay, so did you understand that this EO, did you understand this EO to be a direction for your team in particular?
These are independent agencies that do not fall under a bureau level agency. So, yes.
Okay. Did you use this EO to understand your mission in your smaller group at DOGE?
It certainly gave direct guidance that these agencies were meant to be reduced, and our team was the only one focused on independent agencies.
Did you talk to anyone about that within your DOGE team?
About what?
About this EO as a directive for the work you were doing with that team?
Dealing with which team?
With your small
With the small agencies.
agencies team?
Yes.
Okay. So who did you talk to on your team about this EO?
Everyone on the team. Nate, at the time, Nate, Ethan, Justin Eminetti,
Okay. And who's Justin Eminetti?
Doge Legal.
Okay. Was he advising the small agencies team?
He was joining us for meetings and, yeah, giving the legal backdrop for every agency.
Okay. And who were in these meetings with Justin Eminetti?
The leadership teams of the agencies.
Who are those?
NEH, IMLS, NEA,
Okay.
any agency that we went to.
So under section 2, which is titled Reducing the Scope of the Federal Bureaucracy, it says, A, except as provided in this subsection B of this section, the non-statutory components and functions of the following governmental entities shall be eliminated to the maximum extent consistent with applicable law. And such entities shall reduce the performance of their statutory functions and associated personnel to the minimum presence and function required by law. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Did you understand your goal at the agencies that you were detailed to comply with that directive in the executive order?
Objection.
For these agencies,
Okay.
yes.
And so this is what you would have used to understand your work at the Woodrow Wilson Center?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what the Woodrow Wilson Center does?
issue scholarship grants.
Okay. Anything else?
That's my understanding. Grant-making organization.
Do you
A grant-making organization?
do anything to understand more than that before you were detailed there to eliminate it to its statutory minimum?
Yes.
Okay.
We met with the board.
Okay. And you said IMLS you were also detailed to and worked with. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. Do you understand the function of IMLS?
Yes.
Okay. What's that?
A grant-making organization, specifically for museum and library services.
Okay. And you worked there as well, right?
I was detailed there.
Okay. And did you succeed in implementing this EO there?
I'm not sure.
You don't remember?
I'm not sure if it's precisely what's written in this EO.
Okay. What did you do there?
Found optimization through grant-making, terminations, and workforce terminations,
Okay.
and overall worked with the agency leads to comply with this EO.
Okay. You also worked with the Inter-American Foundation during your time at the government. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have an understanding of the mission of the Inter-American Foundation?
Yes.
Okay. You also are working with the U.S. Institute of Peace. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have an understanding of their mission?
Yes.
How would you describe that?
A peacekeeping organization that primarily does international affairs involvement.
Okay. Who did you work with on that project?
Nate Kavanaugh, Ken Jackson, Justin Eminetti. I think that was it.
Okay. And the Millennium Challenge Corporation, you also worked there, right?
Yes.
Okay. What was your mission, to your understanding, of your work with the Millennium Challenge Corporation?
Be installed as the DOGE leads,
Okay.
find efficiencies, eliminate wasteful spend.
And who did you work with on that?
Nate Kavanaugh, Justin Eminetti, Jack Stein. I think that's all.
Okay. Did you report to anyone during your work with the MCC, U.S. Institute of Peace, and Inter-American Foundation? I guess let me leave it there. Did you report to anyone?
Yes, the agency leads.
Okay. And then you went to the National Labor Relations Board. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have an understanding of what they do?
Yes.
What do they do?
Manage disputes between employers and employees.
Okay. Did you know that before you were detailed there?
At a high level,
Okay.
but we had many meetings with our team.
Okay. Who from the DOGE team did you work with on that project?
Nate Kavanaugh, Justin Eminetti, and I believe that's it.
And you were detailed and worked with the National Endowment for the Humanities as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have an understanding of the mission of the NEH?
A grant-making organization.
Okay.
for humanities.
Okay. Anything more than that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the highest level, like, way to describe it.
Okay. I guess, what kind of grants? You said for the
Humanities grants.
Okay. When were you detailed to the NEH?
Sometime around mid-March.
Okay. And just taking a quick step back, during your detail and during your work with these agencies that we've listed, how are you communicating with the small teams that you've listed?
Objection.
Which small teams?
So for the Challenge Corporation, you named some people that you worked with on that project. You can rename them if you...
Sure.
Yeah.
We were in person every day.
Okay. And did you speak on Signal as well with this team?
About specifically those agencies.
Yeah.
Signal was used to coordinate where we were.
Okay.
The real work about each of these agencies was done over email or GSA phones.
Okay. Great. So how do you understand your mission during your detail to the NEH?
Work with Mike to find optimization efforts through grants, contracts, and personnel.
Great. And how did you come to understand that as being the mission?
That was the mission for all of our agencies we onboarded to, was find savings through contracts, grants, personnel.
Okay. And that directive was coming from Steve and Josh?
The executive order wrote a pretty clear mandate that every agency needed a DOGE lead, and we were focused on all of the small agencies, so that direction was clear.
Okay. So who would you, if you ever came upon a question that you needed to elevate to a superior, who would that superior be?
A question about what?
About your work with relation to these agencies?
Well, we always deferred to the head of the agencies.
I'm sorry, let me repeat my question or ask my question differently. If you had a question that related to what the mandate of DOGE was during your detail to these agencies, who would you ask?
I'm not sure I understand who I'm asking about what we're doing at these agencies. It was to find savings. So through contracts, grants, and personnel, be detailed onto small agencies, the 150 or so, work with the agency lead to execute on that executive order.
Okay. So I guess when I ask who you would go to with your questions, I'm trying to get a sense for who in the, was there, if there was anyone at the DOGE team that was helping you to understand what your role was as a part of DOGE as you were being detailed to these agencies.
Objection.
Me personally, no. I generally followed Nate.
Okay. So,
The mandate was clear. I mean, it was install as DOGE leads on independent agencies to find savings.
right. But if any question came up about the proper way to find savings, where to look for savings, what kind of projects would be continued versus cut, were you just using your own discretion based on your understanding of the EOs to do that?
We worked with agency leads.
Okay. So, how did you end up on the team that got detailed to NEH in particular?
I ended up on Nate's team per Josh Gruenbaum and Anthony telling me that I'm on Nate's team.
Okay. Right.
which is the small agencies team, which is focused on the independent agencies.
Right.
So all independent agencies need a DOGE lead. So I work with Nate and team to get onboarded onto those agencies and work with the leads to find savings.
Right, but I guess why NEH and not some other small agency? Do you have an understanding of that?
We had a list of 150. We probably onboarded to 120. That list was ordered by congressional appropriations. The common sense approach is to go to the ones that have the highest congressional appropriations that are independent. And so we onboarded to all of them.
Right, but why were you, so you worked with the NEH,
Uh-huh.
but, you know, perhaps not Marshall Wood, for instance. Why were you detailed to the NEH, and why did you work with the NEH and not Marshall Wood?
Well, at the time, it was just myself, Nate, and Ethan
Okay. In the small
agencies.
agencies. Okay, so Marshall Wood would have come later.
He wasn't there. Jack Stein wasn't there. Jonathan Mendelson wasn't there. So it was just the three of us.
Okay, so the entire, and this
Team.
Thank you for clarifying. The entire team, the entire small agencies team, at the time of that detail to NEH, went to NEH.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
I think.
Okay.
Because I don't know if Ethan didn't work with us. It was really Nate and myself.
Okay. So, did you use any particular, strike that. So, you noted that one of your goals in getting detail to these agencies was to look for savings, terminate grants, et cetera, right?
Objection.
Could you rephrase?
Okay. One of the goals in getting detail to these agencies was finding savings, right?
Work with the agency leads
Right.
to find optimization
Okay.
through personnel grants contracts.
And part of that was through the termination of grants, right?
Part of that, yeah.
Okay. Did you use any particular methodology in assessing NEH grants for termination?
There was an executive order that said to eliminate spend on DEI and other wasteful government spending, and that was the lens.
Okay. So DEI would have been one kind of guidepost for the grants to terminate?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you interpret DEI?
There was, the EO explicitly laid out the details. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
It's okay. I'm asking for your understanding of it.
Yeah, my understanding was exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay. So can you?
I don't remember what
Okay.
was in the EO.
So right now, do you have an understanding of what DEI is?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's
Yeah.
your understanding as you sit here today in this deposition?
Well, it was exactly what was written in the EO. And so anytime that we would look at a grant through the lens of complying with an executive order, we would just refer back to the EO
Right.
and assess if this grant had relation to it.
Okay. But I guess stepping back from
Yeah.
your methodology strictly in terminating the grants, do you have an understanding as you sit here today of what DEI means?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding of what it means?
Well, it is exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay. So
And I don't have the EO in front of me, but that was, we would always reference back to the EO and
Right.
make sure that this grant was in compliance with the EO.
I understand
language.
that. Okay. But I'm not asking necessarily about what was in the EO. I'm asking very specifically about your present understanding of what of DEI. Do you have a present understanding of DEI?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain what that present understanding is?
Well, it is just easier for me to be referencing back to the EO.
Are you refusing to answer the question?
I'm not refusing to answer the question.
Okay.
I just feel that referencing back to the verbatim executive order was the best way for us to capture all of the DEI language. And so I think giving a high-level overview of what I could relay as DEI is not going to do justice what was written in the EO.
And that's okay. We can look at the EO as well. But
Great.
I'm asking you for, I mean, this is a deposition. I'm asking you questions. You're under oath. And
Yeah,
you're required
yeah.
to answer them. So what is your understanding of what DEI means?
Well, I think I would say, again, that I would go back to the EO to make sure I'm capturing enough. I don't feel comfortable saying a high-level overview because it is such a big bucket, and there's just a lot of pieces of the puzzle.
What's a part of the bucket?
Gender fluidity, sort of promoting, promoting subsets of LGBTQ plus that might alienate another part of a community. Again, it was just easier for us to reference back into the EO.
Okay, so.
And I don't want to give you a broad overview because it's like, at the end of the day, it is capturing, it is all encompassing in the EO. It's how we did our methodology.
Right. Do you always refer to EOs to gain an understanding of words used in your typical daily vernacular?
Objection.
What do you mean?
You say that you have an understanding of what DEI means, and when I ask you, you say you need to reference the EO. Do you need to reference EOs to define every word you use in your everyday life?
Objection.
No.
Okay, so what's stopping you from defining DEI to your understanding as you sit here today on January 28th, 2026?
It wouldn't be capturing enough of how big the topic is. DEI is a very broad structure. I'm giving my limited recall of what's included is just not.
Okay, I understand. Can we go to, actually, hold on. So who did you work with internally at NEH? Were there people at NEH, kind of embedded in NEH that you worked with during your detail there?
Objection.
When you say embedded in NEH, you mean just employees of NEH?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Mike McDonald, Adam Wolfson, Praneeth, don't remember her last name,
Okay.
Brett, Bobley. There are others, but the employees of NEH, yes.
Okay. And how did you communicate with those employees?
Email,
Anything else?
my GSA phone with Mike.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Jacob, can we pull up tab 4? And this will be exhibit 4. All right, so this is exhibit 4. It's Executive Order 14151 of January 2025. The title is Ending Radical and Wasteful Government DEI Programs and Preferencing. Did I read that title correctly, Justin?
Yes.
Okay. Is this the DEI executive order that you're referencing?
That I'm referencing when?
When you said you referred to the EO to define your understanding of DEI.
Could you scroll down? Yeah. Let me just read it, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah, please.
Yes.
Okay. So fair to say you've seen this executive order before,
Yes.
and you referenced it in terminating grants? In deciding which grants to mark for termination.
Objection.
Mike McDonald and our team.
Right.
This was a guiding principle for terminating grants,
Okay.
but not the only principle.
Okay, great. Can you scroll up again, Jacob? So it says radical, wasteful, DEI. Do you have an understanding of what radical means as used here?
No.
Okay. What about DEI programs and preferencing? Do you have an understanding of what that means?
Diversity, equity, inclusion programs. So be that special task force within agencies or even extending into grants. And then preferencing being a bias toward spend on DEI programs relative to others.
Okay. So now maybe we can more comfortably talk about what DEI means. Earlier you said something about LGBTQ+. Were there other things that you interpreted as being DEI other than LGBTQ+?
Objection.
Do you have some examples?
I was going to ask you the same thing. Do you have examples of what you would consider to be DEI other than LGBTQ+?
So, for instance, there was a $400,000 grant for gay and trans travel guides in SF.
Mm-hmm.
That's DEI. Do you need others?
I don't think now. It's okay. Can we pull up tab number 5, Jacob? Currently displayed as Executive Order 14168. This is exhibit number 5. And it reads, defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. Have you seen this executive order before?
No.
You've never seen this?
Could you scroll down? Oh, you can pause. How long does this go?
It's 9 pages long.
When was this dated? Maybe I'm talking to you. I don't know why I'm yelling.
If you need to be able to read the full exhibit, you're entitled to do that.
I mean, before we get to that, is this a document based on what you've seen so far that you recognize?
Maybe.
He's entitled to see the full exhibit. This is why you normally have printouts.
Okay, I'm asking him a question, and he just answered it. Thank you for answering. You said maybe you've seen that? exhibit before?
I'd have to read it to remember.
Okay, that's fine. It mentions biological reality of sex. It says defending women, protecting women. Are these concepts that would have come up during your analysis of marking grants for termination at some of the agencies that you were detailed to?
Objection.
Could you scroll down?
I have a standing question.
He is entitled to be able to read an exhibit. You cannot prevent him from being able to see the full exhibit.
Okay.
That is completely inappropriate.
Counsel, I can hear you. I'm asking him a question that actually isn't about the entirety of the exhibit.
In a deposition, you are entitled to read an exhibit, and for some reason, you are not allowing him to see the
He's
full
read-
exhibit.
Ma'am, he's reading it right now.
He can't see the full thing because you have elected to not provide any copies of any of the exhibits. So if he is asking to scroll down to read the exhibit, you need to allow him to do that.
He, of course, can scroll down as
It
he's
would-
asked.
it would
He
be
can't
helpful
because
to
he
get the
doesn't
full
control the
context, yeah.
computer.
Right, okay.
He just asked to scroll down, and you tried to prevent him from being able to do that.
How did I do that?
Because you said he has to answer the question before doing that. So allow him to read the exhibit if that's what he wants. This is pretty basic.
You can say it's basic. I asked him a question.
Well, it's
Right.
basic to be able, for a witness to be able to look at
What-
a
what-
full exhibit
right.
during a deposition. I
Right.
have never encountered a situation where an attorney taking a deposition will not allow a witness to read an entire exhibit.
For the record, just because this is still on the record, he's absolutely, I have not prevented him in any way from reading the document.
Okay, please allow him to do so then.
And I'd ask that you keep your speaking objections briefer than that.
This
Thank
is
you.
not an objection to a question. This is an objection to the way you are conducting this deposition. He has repeatedly asked to scroll down.
Counsel, I hear you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I am entitled to say what I want. Don't cut me off.
Thank you. I'll ask again, is this generally a document that you recognize, Mr. Fox?
Maybe.
Okay, that's fine. Are concepts like defending women, gender ideology extremism, biological truth, do those come up in the context of selecting grants for terminations? Yes.
Could
or
you
no?
scroll down? You can keep going.
I'll note for the record that the witness has been reading a 9-page document for almost 5 minutes now.
And I'll note for the record that it's challenging to read the documents because no copies of any exhibits have been provided.
Some of the definitions in here, yes, would have come up by way of DEI.
Which ones?
I can't see them all.
Okay, but what's the basis for you saying that? Which ones have you seen that make you say what you just said?
The gender ideology piece and sex as an immutable biological classification as either male or female. Could you scroll down? There's a lot of definitions in here.
I'm not asking you to read every single definition, though. I'm asking.
But you asked if I would use this in interpreting grants, and I can't see
this
full-
document. Yes, would you use some of the concepts that have been written into this document as the basis for analyzing grants to mark for termination? I'm not asking for exhaustively. I'm asking if some of these concepts you used.
Some of these concepts would have come up in discussions about grants. Yeah.
Okay. We can move on to tab 6A, Jacob. And this will be Exhibit 6. Who did you speak with about those concepts?
Mike, Adam, Nate?
Okay. Ethan Choutran?
No.
Okay. How did you discuss those concepts with Nate, Mike, and Adam?
On a grant by grant basis.
Okay. And was this in person, via text, signal?
In person for Adam and Mike, we did comprehensive reviews.
Yep.
They also did their own individual independent work
Okay.
between the two of them.
Got it. Did anyone specifically instruct you to apply the concepts that were laid forth in EO 14151 and EO 14168 to your grant termination process?
Which EOs are you referring
The
to?
two that we just looked at.
What were the titles?
The titles were Ending Radical and Wasteful Government DEI Programs and Preferencing was EO 14151, and EO 14168 was Defending Women from Gender Ideology Extremism and Restoring Biological Truth to Federal Government. And I'll repeat the question.
When was the second one released? I think I didn't get an answer there. The 9-page one?
Right, I could. January 20th, it looks like,
25.
2025.
And then repeat the question, sorry.
Could you please read back the question for the witness?
Question. Did anyone specifically instruct you to apply the concepts that were laid forth in EO 14151 and EO 14168 to your grant termination process?
Mike was the one directing his team to identify DEI grants. And we came in to help him with that. The whole purpose of us being on board is to assist in finding savings. And Mike's team had already been at this for close to a month.
Okay, great. So we're looking at Exhibit 6 now. This is tab 6A. Can we scroll to the bottom of this, Jacob?
What document is this?
Sorry. This is US-0000500393. Okay. Could you scroll up so we could see the introduction? Scroll up, up, up. Yeah, just right there. Yep, that's good. Okay, so it looks like on March 13th, 2025, Adam Wolfson writes to what appears to be you and Nate Kavanaugh. Is that right?
Objection.
Is that right? Does I see it's just Adam Wolfson wrote.
Yeah, and then it says, hi, Nate. Hi, Justin.
Okay. Am I included on the CC?
I think above. We could scroll up if you like. Jacob, could you scroll up, please?
From Nate. Okay.
Okay. So you understand that to be you and Nate Kavanaugh, is that right?
Yes.
That he's addressing? He goes on to say, great meeting you yesterday and catching up today. As discussed, I've copied below the link for the award spreadsheet created by Brett that the program directors used for their historical review of NEH's grants since January 2021. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And this is generally tracking, when he says program directors used for historical review, that's tracking the process you were just kind of describing, right? That NEH had its own
Yes.
review. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. He says, great meeting you yesterday, and this was on March 13th. Would this have been a day after you first met him for the first time?
I would think so.
Okay. Do you remember that meeting that you had with him on March 12th?
The specific contents, no, but we did have a meeting
Okay.
at the office.
Okay. And this was at the NEH office?
Yes.
Okay. And who was present at that meeting?
Mike and Adam. I believe those were the only two. They hadn't returned to office as a team.
Got it. And Mr. Kavanaugh?
And Nate.
Okay. Was that also the first time that you had met Mr. McDonald?
That's right.
Okay. How did you set up the meeting on that day?
I don't remember.
Okay. Would it have been through Signal, do you think?
No.
Okay.
Not with Mike and Adam.
Okay. Maybe through email?
Yeah.
Is that most
Maybe
likely?
maybe through email is the most likely.
Okay. And there was no one else besides you four in that meeting? Is that fair to say?
I think so, although, like I said, the specific contents, I know at one point we'd met with Pranitha and Brett, although there might have been some follow-up meetings.
Okay. Do you know who actually set up this meeting? Like who called it into effect?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember who led the meeting?
Myself, Nate, and Mike. It wasn't really a lead
Right.
situation. It was a, where can we help? What have you been doing?
Right. I noticed you didn't say Adam.
Adam was certainly there, but Mike was the head of the agency.
Okay.
So we deferred to him.
Okay. And do you remember the content of the discussion?
Talk to us about what you've been doing since January 20th. How has that been going? Tell us more about NEH and your alignment with the EOs, hence our discussion about the grant review.
Okay. And do you understand the Brett as reference in this email to be Brett Bobley?
Yes.
Okay. It says it's, well, strike that. Do you remember the disposition of Mr. McDonald and Mr. Wolfson during this meeting?
No.
No? Was it a typical meeting between professionals, you would say?
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone voice any frustration or surprise at members of the DOGE team interacting with them to work on their agency projects?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why'd you pause for so long?
I was trying to think. I actually could not remember, like I said, the specific contents of this meeting. I know based on Adam's email that you just showed me that we obviously talked about the spreadsheet that the team had been doing, but the demeanor of the team is, there was a lot of meetings following this.
Okay. Was there ever a point where maybe employees of NEH expressed surprise, discontent at DOGE's involvement with NEH's process?
No,
Okay.
no, not at all.
Okay. Not that you saw.
Yeah, not that I saw, right?
Right. Okay, can you scroll down, please, Jacob? It goes on to say there's also a tab for agency-wide grants, which applies mainly to ARP awards and chairs awards. A few of the directors still need to review awards made through their office for this tab and enter their comments. Mike and I will appreciate having your thoughts and suggestions. We've set aside a block of time Monday morning to finalize the list for OMB. And I think, can you scroll down quickly, Jacob, and then just all the way to the bottom? Great. And then all the way up.
Could you go to the body of that email that Adam sent again, just so we can see the full email? Perfect.
Oh, wait.
Oh, could you hold it there?
Yeah, sorry. Go down again, Jacob. Thanks. Yeah, I actually realized I skipped a paragraph. The second paragraph, after the first one that I read, is the record. At the very beginning of talking about this email was, quote, it's broken down by program office, each one having its own tab. The directors reviewed the grants made through their office and entered comments for the three relevant categories, i.e. DEI/DEIA, gender ideology, and environmental justice, and rated them based on level of involvement with any of the categories, high, medium, low, not an A. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Was it your understanding that, did this track your understanding of the review process upon joining the NEH, upon being detailed to NEH?
Objection.
Yeah, this aligns with.
Sure. So DEI, gender ideology, and environmental justice.
That's what the team was looking at.
Okay. Was that also
initially.
okay? Was that also something that you looked at during your review process of grants?
Yes.
Okay.
One of the pieces we looked at it.
Okay. It also says high, medium, and low there. Do you have an understanding of what that means?
The interpretation of the directors and the level of, at their discretion, involvement of DEI, DEIA, gender ideology, and environmental justice. Environmental justice. This DEI, DEIA, gender ideology, and environmental justice.
Great. Okay. And then we'll scroll up a bit. Jacob, thanks. Okay, then Nate Kavanaugh responds and he says, thanks, Adam. Justin is going to run point on preparing the grant report for your meeting on Monday. We'll be in touch if any questions arise before then. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. got probably one more exhibit before we can break for a little bit. Can you pull up exhibit 6B? Or excuse me, tab 6B. This will be exhibit 7. Okay, this is an email from, excuse me, this is document US-0000450042, exhibit number 7. This appears to be an email from you, Justin Fox, to Mike McDonald and Adam Wolfson, CCing Nate Kavanaugh. Does that appear to be right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recognize this email?
Yes.
Okay. The first, and pardon, would this have been an email that you sent in the ordinary course of your work as a detailee to NEH?
This was work that Mike and Adam asked me to do.
You didn't answer my question. What was this?
Yeah,
Adopt-
so yeah,
that-
that's what they wanted me to do, so yeah.
Okay. So your answer is yes.
Yes.
That this was.
Yeah, this is pretty ordinary course.
Okay. It appears authentic.
Yes.
Okay. Let me read the first. Well, actually, yeah. Let's read the first paragraph. Mike, Adam, hope you both had a good weekend. See attached for our review of NEH grants, census, and contracts. It will be easier to connect over the phone when convenient and discuss what we've pulled together. Let me know when works for you tomorrow. Below summarizes the attachments along with key areas for your input. So I guess let me start with who's being referred to here. When you say our review of NEH grants, are you referring to you and Mr. Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Okay. And you say it's easier to connect over phone. In the second sentence, would that have been through your GSA phone?
Yes.
Okay. And to his government phone?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible that that would have been a communication on your personal devices?
No.
Okay. And then it says, discuss what we've pulled together. Again, are you referring to you and Mr. Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Okay. But at this point, you were aware that NEH was doing its own parallel review, right?
Objection.
Could you rephrase?
Was it your understanding that the NEH employees were reviewing reviewing grants for termination based on the EOs that we looked at before? DEI, gender ideology, environmental justice.
And so you're saying after or alongside me reviewing these grants? Or before?
I guess let me start just kind of like
Yeah.
without any chronology.
Sure.
Were you aware that the NEH was reviewing grants to mark for termination by the employees of the NEH?
Objection to form.
Yes.
Okay. What's your understanding of why you and Mr. Kavanaugh would then review grants in addition to what was being done by NEH?
Well, for one, there was speed in which this was getting done, and the EO mandated a 60-day timeline. We needed to help him move that process along. And this is all at the request of Michael. So we came in, we spent the whole weekend reviewing grants for him. And that was what he wanted us to do.
Okay, the next paragraph says, grants, we reviewed all active grants for DEI involvement and marked them accordingly. Page 1 is a summarized view of the grant details on page 2 through 89. Grants are shown on page 2 through 89 in descending order of dollar amount by division. Page 2 through 89 shows details for grants, for active grants which were flagged as having DEI involvement only. It does not show details for active grants without DEI involvement or grants which are expired/ended. Please review the active grants flagged for DEI involvement and mark your decision in the MM/AW in the Excel. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. When you use the word DEI in this email, are you referring to what we saw in EO 14151?
I'm referring to the same parameters that the team was reviewing the grants for.
Okay.
And
sorry.
just that was encompassing of DEI, DEIA, environmental justice, and however else they were reviewing the grants.
Okay. What did you understand their protocol to be?
I didn't. It was what Mike had told them to do.
Okay. And how did you interpret those same, so DEI, for instance, how did you gain an understanding for what DEI meant in the context of assessing NEH grants?
Well, I think these grants shown here are only the ones that the team flagged. So to answer your question, I didn't need to interpret anything. This was just a consolidated view of all the grants that the team had done reviews of.
You say see attached our review of NEH grants.
Yeah, I think,
Is it your testimony that you actually didn't do a review of NEH grants?
oh, we did.
Okay.
But this grant doc was a consolidated view of the work that his team had done. You'll see it says, shows details for active grants which were flagged as having involvement for DEI. It does not show details for active grants without DEI involvement or grants which have expired or ended. So this is take the work that the team has done and put it into something that Mike and Adam can review ahead of a meeting that they had, which was for pending grants or existing awards. They had it with their, I think, board of directors.
Okay. Thank you. We can take that down, Jacob. I appreciate that. Okay, so you and Nate were reviewing grants. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And part of that review invoked an application of your understanding of DEI, gender ideology, and environmental justice. Is that fair to say?
Objection.
For the ones that were flagged as not having involvement, part of the lens that we looked at it was from what you just described.
Okay. What methodology did you use to flag a grant along those lines?
Again, the team had already done high, medium, low involvement with DEI. And then so we're just focused on the raw output of what is the description of that grant and apply it from the view of, is this related to DEI or the all-encompassing definition that DEI captures, DEIA, environmental justice, however Mike had described, plus is this a wasteful grant?
Okay. Got it.
And this was the description, the full-length description that the team at NEH had shared with us.
Got it. Okay, so was there ever a point in time where you yourself were looking at a grant description and determining whether or not it should be labeled as DEI?
We gave our thoughts, certainly. The ultimate decision came down to Mike and Adam, but yes, we were looking at it from that context.
Okay. So just to clarify, so you yourself were looking at grants and assessing whether or not there was DEI involvement with those grants. Is that fair to say?
As one piece of the puzzle, yes.
Right. Okay. That's
And there was other, aspects playing into that, but
right.
and we ultimately deferred to Adam and Mike, but we relayed our perspectives.
Yeah. You've said that a number of times, and I've understood, yeah. But
Great.
I'm asking you about how you were actually assessing the grants as you privately looked at them, which I can ask. Did you ever sit down, not with Mike and not with Adam and not with Nate, and review grants for DEI involvement on your own?
Objection.
Yes, as one piece of the puzzle.
Okay, great. And same for gender ideology. Is that fair to say?
That'd be fair.
Okay. And economic justice, right?
That'd be fair.
Okay. Or excuse me, environmental justice. Is that fair? What methodology did you apply when you were sitting and reviewing grants alone to determine whether something should be flagged yes or no for DEI?
Reading the description under the context of the all-encompassing definition that we've gone over about DEI, does this relate, this description, the full-length description relate to DEI, yes or no? And again, this is only on the grants that were not flagged as having DEI involvement, because the NEH team had already done weeks of work on the existing grants that were outstanding and flagged them as having DEI involvement or not. So then our work was solely focused on those that the team did not, at first pass, believe related to DEI. Those were the grants that we really spent time deliberating on and receiving input from Mike and Adam.
Okay. I think you said earlier something about the fact that there were so many grants, and so part of your job was to come in with Nate and kind of help with the general, load of work that needed to be done. Do you remember saying something to that effect?
Objection.
Helping Mike and Adam was the sole reason they were there. When we got there, all of the grant reviews were in separate tabs and disorganized, and so what we did was help them organize the work that their team did.
Okay. And then you also have said that you applied your own, you reviewed grants yourself as well, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it wasn't just organizing work that was already done. You were adding to the process of grant review. Is that fair to say?
Objection.
We were helping Mike and Adam think through each of the grants that their team had not deemed related to DEI.
Okay.
That was the sole purpose.
Okay. Got it. But you weren't just organizing work that was already done. You were adding your own impressions to grants to mark for DEI or not DEI.
Our own impressions, yes.
Okay, great. Let's go to the next.
Yankee, it's after 1, and we've been going for quite a while. Can we break for lunch soon?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, sure. Yeah. We can break your hair. Off the record.
Time is 1:06 p.m. This includes media 3, off the record.